CCR TV, channel of God's love. A warm welcome to all our viewers on this episode of Goyche Tarvotti. Goans have a rich tradition and history in the international maritime sector. Goans have sailed the high seas across the globe in various capacities. Over the years, thousands of Goans have gained gainful employment on the merchant navy ships as well as luxury cruise liners. Tarvotti, as they are referred to. The word Tarvotti itself, a prefix, has its own sense of respect and admiration. Initially, decades ago, Goans may have served on the cruise liners in the hospitality sector and a few others as marine officers. But now, with better educational opportunities and availability of professional marine courses and nautical science institutes based outside Goa, the scenario is fast changing. The number of Goan marine officers, including masters, chief engineers, chief officers, is on the rise. Professional education in the marine sector have given our ambitious youth an opportunity to pursue their dream of a career in the merchant navy as well as on the cruise liners, which is, as you know, exciting, challenging, as well as matter of fact, very lucrative. Today, our ambitious youth armed with requisite qualifications and degrees are finding placement on board foreign vessels in the rank of entry-level deck officers and engineers too. We have with us today two young Goan senior marine officers, both serving in the merchant navy. We welcome to our studios Captain Ryan Sequeira from Shinshini and Chief Engineer Bhasker Rivanker from Tilamol to our studios. Captain Ryan and Chief Engineer Bhasker, a warm welcome to you to our studios today.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's nice to have two men in uniform on my right and on my left. Something very rare in the studios, you know.
Thank you.
To begin with, Captain, I think let our audience know briefly about you two gentlemen. I'll begin with you, Captain. Tell us briefly about your family background and the place you hail from and where was your childhood?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having us on CCR TV. My name is Captain Ryan Sequeira and I come from a village called Shinshini in South Goa. My family background, I come from a third generation of seafarers. My grandfather went out to sea, then my father, and then I followed his footsteps. I'm sailing for the past 14 years as a master marine on board on different kinds of vessels, and lately I'm sailing on big container vessels, ultra large container vessels. My childhood, I did my schooling from Our Lady of Health High School, Kunkoli, and then I did my 10+2 from Kunkoli as well, and then I went out for training as a cadet.
Okay. What about you?
Thank you, Mr.
Bhasker.
Daniel and CCR TV for having us here. Yeah, I'm Bhasker Rivanker from Tilamol village, basically near Capt, Sheldon side. And I studied in Sarvodaya High School, Kurcherem, 10th standard. Then I went to Chogule College, 12th Science. And from there I moved to Shipbuilding Institute after my 12th standard. And then I got selected in a Singapore-based company for maritime training 6 months in Singapore National Academy, and from there on my journey to the sea has started, and from 98 I am sailing from junior engineer to chief engineer. I've been sailing mostly on tankers, and my sailing has been mostly on tankers, very large crude oil carriers.
I see.
VLCC. VLCC, yes.
Okay. Captain Ryan, just now you said that you are a third generation sailor in your family, right? So besides your family background, your grandfather, your father, and now you, what else was that motivating factor? No doubt you said you went for your studies in the marine science sector. to train yourself as a cadet. What else was the motivation? Did you have other, your friends in the village or surrounding who were also sailing?
Yes, actually, we had like from our age group, we had a guy who has already gone as a deck cadet, and
see.
probably I think he influenced most of us to follow him. And also the uniform has always, sort of influenced me. I always liked the, merchant navy uniform.
Yeah.
And yes, the money and the perks which come with the job.
With the job.
And the travel. I love traveling.
I see. That's good. What about you, Chief Engineer Bhasker?
As I always liked engineering side of like being engineer was my dream. So somehow I realized it from Institute of Shipbuilding Technology and being in marine field. So that was a natural progression for me to go sailing as such as because technologically it was more challenging, as well as financially it was more rewarding career. And we had a very good teacher for us in Shipbuilding Institute, Mr. Suresh Khare. He was ex-surveyor in ABS, and he was always used to come in uniform. And that was also his poise and his way of personality motivated me to become a chief engineer. So there was no other way than to join ship.
Can I say that like Captain Ryan, you too had admiration for men in uniform?
Yes.
It gives a different kind of feeling.
Yes.
To
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, you not only look smart, but you command respect also. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Captain, coming back to you, if I may ask you, for the benefit of our viewers and especially our youth who will be watching this program, what was your age like when you made your first entry at the deck level?
20 years.
You were 20 years?
Yes. So normally, you start at when you do your 10+2, and then you give your common entrance exam at Indian Maritime University, which is the standard now.
Yes.
So then there are two ways to go about it. One is that you do 1 year DNS, or you do a BSc nautical degree, which is a 3 years course.
1 year is a diploma in nautical science.
Diploma in nautical science.
Okay.
So
after doing diploma in nautical science, you still have the option to go for the degree level course. Am I right?
No, because the option for you is available at the first instance. That is where you choose.
Okay.
So the boys who choose 1 year DNS, and there are some boys who choose 3 years degrees.
Course. So which are the candidates in a better position to get a better posting? Of course, I think who do the 3-year course. Am I right?
No, both.
Both come at the same level.
So what I suggest for our Goan boys is, I think DNS is much better, because you do 1 year
the
of
diploma in nautical science,
yes,
as you said.
because that will be converted into a degree later on when you get your masters.
I see.
So the end progression is same. You start off with your first training phase is different.
As you join and pick up experience at ground zero, everything is counted and
both are structured programs. Both you will reach at the master mariner level, and then on the way you will gain both your qualifications.
So that is what you are saying. Either they do, but in your case, how did it happen after you finished your engineering?
For engineering boys, there are two ways to go about. Either you have a degree in engineering, BTech, 4 years degree course, or a 3-year diploma course. After 3 years diploma course or a BTech degree college, you have to join 1 year for degree engineers, 1 year graduate mechanical engineering training, GME training, marine engineering training, or 2 years diploma engineering training. In Goa, we have Institute of Maritime Studies in Vasco, which trains these boys. Similarly, we in other parts of the country, we have many other institutes, private as well as government based. So you go through a structured program of 1 year training for graduate engineers and 2 years training for diploma engineers. After that, you go on a ship for 6 months, and then you give class 4 examination of Directorate General of Shipping. Then you get your certification as a 4th engineer's certification. Only after that, similar to deck cadets also, only after 3rd officer's examination they become 3rd officer. And similarly, only after 4th engineer's getting class 4 examination, you become a certified officer. Only then your career starts as a officer on board a ship. So
Okay.
you are a certified officer on
Certified
board.
officer.
Yeah, that is the first step.
Captain Ryan, coming back to you, you have already told us you're a third generation, in the family of sailors. But when you expressed your uh, choice that you want to be a mariner too, was there any reluctance from your family side, or were they supportive of your idea, going with the tradition of the family? How
Yeah.
did it happen?
Yes,
Do you have any siblings?
I have a sister who is elder sister,
Okay.
and I'm the only son.
But when it came to joining the actual, then what happened? Of course, you were sent for the training, no doubt.
Yeah, my father was, the motivating factor for me.
Okay,
Because
throughout.
yes, my father was in the catering department.
I see.
So probably he would have seen his son, become a captain one day.
Good.
So,
So he had that wish and that
Vision,
ambition,
yes.
vision for you.
yes,
So you have fulfilled his vision today.
I have fulfilled. Yeah. So
Okay.
I hope.
What about you?
I'm a first generation
I see.
mariner
In your
actually.
family.
Yeah.
In your
So
family.
nobody knew. They have seen sea, but they never knew anything about
Life at
life
sea.
at sea. So my father is a radio mechanic in Kuchurem.
I
He's a
see.
small time businessman.
Okay.
He runs a shop. So for him it was like my son has become engineer now. Now what he's going to do? And when I said I want to go on ship, he said what is ship? He had never seen a ship, And the mom was saying like, "Are, how will you now? What about your food and this that usual mother things,
Yes,
and then
yes.
how will you stay long away?" What the idea they had was about a cruise liners, and the guys doing 9 months and all this. 9
Yes.
months will be out at sea, and how will you, and all that things, anxiety of theirs,
Right.
which is quite understandable.
These are factors
Yes,
that
yeah.
govern all these things.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
you went through that.
Well, yeah, I went
These
through
are
that.
like teething problems.
Yes, teething problems, but my motivation level was very high, and I wanted to start my career. So I said, nothing doing. I'm out.
It
Yes,
appears
yeah.
you are a self-motivated person.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of, am I
Yeah,
right,
sort
sir?
of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Captain, as you said, your father was, motivating you, supporting you. Now, when you joined the ship at the deck level, maybe as a junior deck officer, how many years did it take for your gradual progression, promotions to reach the level of a master mariner? And how challenging and difficult was this journey? Could you briefly tell us and our viewers on this, highlight your...
Yeah. So normally, if you started as a deck cadet now, so if your progression is as per the current scenario,
Okay.
and depending on your performance, of course, performance on board as well as performance in your examination, I think in 10 years time you can become a master mariner.
Is it?
Yes.
So-
And now there are very young master mariners on board, as young as 28, as young as
Yes,
30
the
years.
whole scenario has changed,
Changed.
Captain, if I may so
Yes,
say
yes,
so. Of
yes.
course, I don't have anybody in the earlier generation, but now as I come across some friends and think the very concept of master mariner has changed. They are younger people,
Yes.
Earlier we used to have the different, age
Different,
group as
yeah. Because the master was called the old man.
exactly,
That's the old
and
saying.
he had to have a nice beard and all that stuff.
Yes.
The whole picture was different, but
Yes.
whole thing is changing now with better, I think, educational,
Yes.
opportunities for our youngsters.
Before it was more of a experience-based thing. Now it
Mhm.
is like more streamlined, and then you have a structured program now.
You said you are right now sailing a container ship. am I
Yes,
right?
container vessels.
Yeah. What is the challenge in sailing a container ship than other cargo vessel or a tanker?
I will say container is basically the size of my vessel now. I sail on this ultra
How
large
many TEUs are you?
14,200.
14,200.
Yeah, so they are around 367 meters long and around
Right.
52 meters the beam.
It's a mothership, mother vessel.
Yes, so we don't
You
act
don't-
as a feeder,
Yeah.
but
You don't.
yeah,
okay.
so we go to major ports of the world,
Mhm.
and then the challenge is the maneuvering of the vessel,
Correct.
and the draft.
Yes.
Then we carry a lot of DG cargoes, dangerous goods
Mhm.
cargoes. We have reefer cargoes,
Okay.
and it's a very expensive cargo which needs to be monitoring, especially the reefer
And
cargo.
time factor is also
Yes,
very
yes.
crucial here.
And we have to be always on time.
On time.
Yeah.
Time factor is one thing that container vessels cannot afford to miss out on.
Miss
Am
out.
I right?
Yes, correct.
Because a lot of money is involved
Must have lot of
in
money.
the entire run of the
Run
thing.
of the vessel.
Captain, coming back to you, as a master, what are your responsibilities as far as a smooth running of your ship from one port to the other, as well as the time factor and any situations on board in the high seas?
Yeah, basically a master's jobs and responsibility on board is the overall in charge of the vessel.
Right.
And there are various departments to support him.
Owner's representative.
And the owner's representative. So basically he signs and or ratifies everything for the owner. So we have two departments. One is the deck department, then we have the
engineering department.
And then of course we have the catering department also.
Mm-hmm.
So these two departments in tandem, they work together to run the ships efficiently and smoothly.
To the optimum.
And nowadays for errors there is a minimal, you can do a minimal errors now on board. Because
with
the
technology getting advanced,
no tolerance.
The stakes are so high,
and
you are being monitored continuously. We even have a CCTV cameras which are monitoring the engine room, the breach.
Okay.
So you are being continuously
Live
24/7.
24/7.
Live feed is going on.
24/7.
There is no ground for any
mistakes.
No ground for mistake. So overall, the entire shipping profession has gone a sea change, if I may say.
Definitely. Like during my time, I have seen changes which has come very drastically, very quickly. Now due to the advent of internet on board, which we are almost connected to a broadband
through satellites.
Yeah. Now we have something called VSAT. Now Starlink has come into action. The bandwidth supported is almost 200 Mbps speed. So fairly good. So due to that, we have systems on board which are like very in real time system, monitoring of the vessel, monitoring even of the machinery. Yeah.
Fine. Chief Engineer Bhasker. Now, as a Chief Engineer, you are in command of the engineering department of the ship.
Yes.
Now, as in charge of the engineering, what are your responsibilities and duties to assist the captain in a smooth, sailing
Yes,
of
our
the vessel?
main concern as well as deck as well as engine is the safety of the vessel and the cargo and the people. So basically everything revolves around safety. So how to carry this dangerous cargo that we are having, which is worth millions of dollars or billions of dollars.
Right.
Crude oil, one VLCC will nearly cross about 2 billions of the price worth of crude oil is being carried, petrol, diesel, naphtha, whatever it is. It is a highly toxic and inflammable cargo which you need utmost safety concerns. So everything revolves on board ship around safety, and as a technical challenges we have to keep the machineries well maintained, safely maintained, and also prepare for beforehand all your operations, and these are the technical issues that we look after. Maintenance basically and operations.
Now, during a run from one port to the other port, the run may be a couple of days, or it may be a short run, to the nearest port, as you know. During the run, right from the engine room to the breach, are you in constant touch with the shipmaster, or
yes, every day we have a meeting. We have a structured coordination between the two departments. There is we work in tandem because it's like a left hand and right hand. Because master needs all the support from all the departments.
Correct.
So he is overall in charge as well as I am the technical head. So whenever some issues of technical nature come, he is always in consultation. Whenever something is there, we always consult each other as the departmental heads. Chief officer also is there. He basically handles the deck maintenance, and engineers handle the engine maintenance, engineering side maintenance, technical maintenance. So we go hand in hand. Because our main concern is we are not separate departments.
Correct.
One team, one ship, one goal. So goal is to transport cargo from point A to point B, for which whatever assistance is master is required, everybody is giving. Including the engineering team.
Nothing but a teamwork.
Teamwork, very much.
Totally teamwork.
Very
Well coordinated.
Well coordinated teamwork.
To the minutest point, right?
Yes, absolutely. Down from the smallest details to the highest decision making. Teamwork.
Captain and chief engineer, effective communication is one of the major aspects in any professional field.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, as far as the shipping is concerned, maritime profession is concerned, you have a mix of crew. When I say mix of crew, means you have crew from different nationalities. It may not be from your country only, it may not be from one continent only. They may come from different parts of the globe. But they are professionally skilled in their work. That's how they are there. Am I right? But how do you handle the situation as far as communication is concerned with this multinational, staff, crew and officers working on board?
Right.
Yeah,
Captain,
so,
I think you should take this call.
Yeah, so basically we have something called the safety management system on board.
Okay.
Each company has a safety management on board,
Mhm.
and that is written in English. So the spoken language on board is English.
Working language. is
Working
English.
language.
Yeah, I think that is one of the major subjects that you need besides PCM.
Yeah.
Yes,
English
that's
is
why they say
not-
50%
yeah,
in English.
50%
And
So at
So it is
least
basic knowledge.
you can
of
read and
English,
write.
Read and
Yeah.
write.
Captain Ryan, I will say Goans have an advantage
Yes.
because
As
of
far
this.
as English is concerned.
As
Yes.
far as English is concerned,
Absolutely.
Goans have an advantage.
It
You
comes
see?
to them naturally after their
Naturally.
mother tongue Konkani.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, am I right?
Yeah, very much,
Yeah.
very much good in English.
Yes, yes. So this is how you manage the overall, what I should say, communication problem, this thing on board.
Yes,
the ship.
because any people coming on board, especially when you sail with the multi-nationality crew, most of the guys, they are at least have the knowledge of English, which needs to be, communicated on board.
Correct.
So we manage.
Okay, so
We manage.
There are challenges
There
with
are
the
challenges.
different nationalities on board,
Yeah.
because the way you want to express something in your
Yes.
language will be not able to do it in English, which will not come, because being mother tongue, it may not come to you. But working on board ship, the communication is precise and concise. That is what we aim for, and somehow we are able to cross these barriers of language through a common language called English language.
Yes.
And that is basically working. Fire is fire in any language, right? So if it is a emergency, like different people have to,
as sugar is
yes.
sweet in any language,
Yes,
so
yes,
fire
correct.
is fire.
Yes. So-
Okay. Chief Engineer Rivanker, coming
sir.
back to you, this is more of a technical question, I think. When a ship is sailing through different time zones,
Yes.
through different sea routes, you may encounter rough weather, all that stuff of thing, kind of,
Right.
ahead weather may be bad and you may be experiencing rolling, all that thing. How, at this time of your sailing, how do you coordinate the speed and things of the vessel, and you are constantly with the master?
Basically,
and you must be getting all the information
Yeah.
from the satellite.
Yeah.
and-
Weather routing is something that the master will look after into that. So whether there is a
Okay.
storm
So
or something, he will-
you will work completely under the guidance of the master.
fully under the guidance of the master, because they are the ones who are doing the passage planning. Everything is planned beforehand.
Okay.
Entire weather forecasting, he is in a better position to answer this question of weather forecasting and routing.
Yeah.
So basically now, like you said, a ship goes from A to B to load or discharge the cargo.
Yeah.
Now there are various factors from going to A to B. How you plan the route, whether the shortest route is the best route,
Yeah.
whether so basically depending on all the factors, taking into weather, current, what is going to be the predicted weather, we sail to optimum route.
And then again, you have got to keep the first
schedule.
Schedule in time.
Yes,
ETA.
yes.
Time, that is
ETA. We call
important.
it ETA.
Expected time of
Yeah.
arrival.
So
am I right?
Yes. So before we leave any port, we have a meeting with the chief engineer. We have a meeting with chief officer, second officer. We have a bridge team meeting, and chief engineer is also invited to that meeting. So that is the meeting we decide at what RPM we intend to go to reach the destination.
All that has to work in favor of keeping your ETA to the
Yes.
to the T.
But if you are if you are speeding up the vessels too much, then
Fuel
to make the
consumption.
ETA, the fuel consumption is another factor. Plus, if you speed up the vessel in very strong rough weather, you might end up damaging the vessel.
engine.
Okay.
So
Or
that is
an
where
engine
my
also.
part comes. Then I will advise
What
Captain
is
Baba,
the
slow down.
normal average speed in normal fair weather conditions?
Now,
For,
for my ship, it was 23 knots. That's we
what
call-
about VLCC?
For VLCCs now, before the trend was to go very fast, but now the fuel savings,
is-
fuel
okay.
consumption is the major criteria, because that's where the lot of economic savings can be done.
To the company.
To the company,
Yes.
yeah. So for the charterers as well, and in the end, and the user actually.
Right,
Correct.
right.
So everything cost is passed down. So normally we do around 13.5 to 13 knots is the now new standard
I see.
in the industry now. When you are loaded, and when you are in ballast, probably they do 11 knots, 12 knots, economical savings. So
Okay.
finally it is all about how much fuel you are willing to burn and what ETAs you have to maintain. So that is how the commercial pressure is there on the both the sides.
My next question is first, of course, I will take on with the captain and then to you. How stressful is this job as a master mariner of a big ship carrying around 13,000 TEUs, plus? And how stressful is it, and how do you manage the stress while at sea?
Like you
Let
said,
me begin with Captain.
Yes, how stressful is, it depends on how much stress you want to take.
How much stress you want to take?
Yeah, I mean, say
you set the limit for your stress.
No, what I mean to say is, like, if you want to involve yourself within very small, minute details, and you get involved in small things and you miss out the big things, then suddenly coming to the big things, you can stress out.
Yeah.
So it is, how you delegate the jobs on board. You have a team, you need to trust them, you need to delegate. Yes, stressful situations are there. I mean, it is there. I think every part. I mean, in every industry,
job,
in every industry,
every professional job. Yes.
Yeah, but we stay away from the family. Once you come to your cabin, you don't have anybody to talk to. Probably you'll make a phone call or a video call. But in other places, when you go to office, you come to home, and then you can share with your family.
Right.
Or you see the kids, you
So
see your pet.
half the stress is already shared.
Yes.
By default.
Yes.
Am
So
I right?
that is one disadvantage for us is, and especially at our ranks, it's very difficult to divulge your problems probably to your junior level officers, because
Now what happens at
Do you share the views expressed by?
Absolutely. Now what has happened? The ships are running 24/7. So you are not anytime off duty. You are always on duty. Always focus is on safety part of it. Always making the ETOs and fulfilling your commitments both to the various parties that you are there. Now the regulations, that is the most stressful part. Environmentally, the world is becoming very, very sensitive.
Absolutely.
And then you have to follow 101 regulations.
I was coming to that,
then
in fact.
the
Yeah,
paperwork,
that part of it,
that is bringing more stress to it. Lot of fatigue. You see, a master or a chief engineer or a senior team, when you reach in a port, you have to turnaround times are very less. We are not there for sightseeing. We are there to offload the cargo, right? And the turnaround time is now
very
from
important. Yes.
before ships used to be in the port for 10 days. Now they are within 48 hours. They have 36 hours. We are emptying an VLCC and turning back to the next port.
Correct.
So now the stress is very high in ports, especially.
It's not only that, even for example, the Indian ports are also become very conscious about time management. And the turnaround time.
Absolutely.
Everything finally goes by the statistics and economics of the trade.
Correct.
So for that matter,
everything is a
turnaround
cost.
of a ship is very, very important.
Yes.
And as you said, the turnaround time is becoming less and less.
Yes. Even a very big, very large over carrier, you will say over carrier also.
Have you any time found yourself in that kind of a stressful situation wherein there is the time factor, there is the
it is everyday story for us. It is everyday
so
story for us.
You are in and out of stress modes.
Very much. You can see my hairline. Just joke apart.
Is this an indicator?
Is one of the indicators. Plus the loneliness on the onboard ship. What happens? You are in a higher rank, especially master chief engineers. You are lot of little bit handicap is there as far as you are sharing your burden or whatever it is there. So you do have that stress level because office pressure is too much, commercial pressure is too much.
As captain has just expressed, he's saying you can't share this stress with the lower rank officers. It has to be with you and at your level, and among you or two or three you have to manage.
That's the cost of leadership.
That's the cost of it on board, especially.
The leadership qualities come in focus here.
Yes.
Captain, as you know, technology keeps on evolving constantly, especially in this present world. Things are moving so fast. While you're sailing, you are not in touch with any kind of refresher courses and all. How do you keep yourself updated with this changing technology, and how do you incorporate it in your system for a much easier and safer shipping?
Okay, now in my previously when I told you that we have internet on board now.
Yes.
So we have systems. They are all mostly all
online
electronic.
briefings up there.
Yes. We have various, we call it, the company specific training courses which are available as a computer based training. So each each member, any rank when they join, they have to do the company specific training on board as well as at ashore. So, and also any changes in regulations comes, they are updated. The
I
company sends you the what changes has taken place. Say for example, is there any amendment which has come to Marport? Say very important regulation.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that changes are sent to you by the company, plus the systems are upgraded on board via the IT department.
Officers are doing more training than
That-
shore-based people
Yes.
here. We are working in an organization. We are always continuously being upgraded onto the vessel, as well as when you are on home leave also, we are continuously being sent for courses. So at least in a vacation of 4 months, 2 weeks you will spend training yourself
Yes.
for refresher training or new regulations that is come, or new
Constantly-
technology that is coming.
Constantly updating your own knowledge
Absolutely.
about shipping.
Absolutely.
and
That is a
safety
continuous
and
process.
everything.
Knowledge and requirement also.
Requirement also.
There is some knowledge based and then there is some requirement based, which you have to do in order to get you on board. Because now both of us, we have to do refresher training every 5 years. I think
No other profession has
no other
that.
profession has that one.
Yes. It's
All
very-
the courses have to be
all the
repeated.
much compulsory in this, marine
It is
sector.
it's a requirement.
Requirement,
Otherwise,
requirement.
you don't do that, you don't get a job.
You
basically.
don't get
Yeah. And every 5 years we have to renew our master's or chief engineer's license.
License,
So
yes.
it is not that you once you pass exam
there
then it is
again
done.
there is another
No.
catch. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
yes.
For that is for every
that
officer.
proves your skill and efficiency at work
Yes.
by constant examinations and things like that. I want you to share with us, your experiences of sailing the high seas during the COVID-19 pandemic. During COVID-19 pandemic, everything across the world came to a standstill, but the maritime sector was running.
Correct.
One sector that was running constantly was the maritime sector. They had their own limitations, they had their own challenges, they had their own difficulties. With so many, several ports were closed, so many ports had no entry, they had restrictions, you couldn't sign off, you couldn't sign on. I know so many officer level crews, they did a double run of their contract and they had no other option. As far as common man is concerned, this is quite a stressful situation. But let us hear from you, beginning
Yes.
with Captain. How was the experience during this COVID-19 pandemic period?
Yeah, I think COVID-19 has changed a lot of things on board now. How people think. I got stuck on board for 10 months as my personal experience.
From 4 months contract.
Yes, from
Yeah,
a 4 months contract.
contract.
And then I have seen grown-up men crying. Somebody lost their mother, they couldn't be signed off. Somebody's family was totally, full family was infected with
Yes.
COVID.
Yes.
I had a second engineer who was crying with me every day. But as a master, I felt very helpless during that time. Neither we could sign them off, neither we could, arrange emergency, sign off, because none of the ports accepted, very few. Then finally, I think at the end of, we could divert the ship to India and get my crew off. And I think most of the people, they overrun their contracts by a wide margin, which is
This is a fact. I know of many cases.
Yeah,
have
similarly,
something to
because the world was not prepared for COVID, and there was nobody was sure what they are doing. Now, basically, shore people were scared of ship people
Yeah.
that they will bring the disease
the
into the
disease.
country,
No.
which was not the case. We were the most safest people. We were the most isolated people in the.
Isolated.
We were totally
Not coming
isolated.
in touch with the outside
Yes.
world.
Anybody,
And nobody gave any support to the seafarers who were sailing and keeping the world running 24/7, because world cannot simply run. You have to shift goods from one country to another country,
Yes.
and essential spares, even let it be medicines or equipment for the medical hospitals and all, was all coming from different countries to
Correct,
different countries. What about the food? Food was also coming from one country to another country. Who was bringing this? Seafarers. Ships were running all the time. But they were treated in a most horrific condition. I mean, a way that they were suspected to be the carriers of the virus, which were not so, because we used to take 10 times more precaution than the ordinary people will take in the market, in the seamen, because we had a strict protocol for
Yes.
COVID entry, the vessel
Yes.
coming in, and then even for the vaccination, everybody was vaccinated. In this bargain, our seafarers lost their lot of back home people to COVID, but they
Families.
could not do anything. They were helpless. They were stuck on board.
If I may ask you a very pointed and very personal question, sir. What has COVID-19 pandemic, as far as your profession is concerned, taught you?
I think one thing is that when I was on board for so long, I missed my family too much. I was like, I have two small kids, so now I tend to
You are more worried about their safety down
Yes,
back there,
yes.
but you were helpless, could not go home.
So now I want to slow down a bit, spend more time with my family. And also I have realized that in spite of having all the organizations in the world, nobody can help you in those times. Like we had ITF, which is the International Federation for Sequeiras. Nobody could do anything about it. Even though I think they could do it. They could do some sort of emergency sign off or help people. But you feel isolated. As a seafarer, I think during those times we felt very isolated.
Right.
Like you
Like
said,
even crucial medical facilities were denied to
Yes,
seafarers because
yes.
some ports denied entry, so they could not go to doctor.
Right,
Now we
right.
don't have a doctor on board ship. If the person is not well or has an injury, he was denied treatment. So that was the level.
As you said, you don't have a doctor on board. Generally, merchant navy vessels don't have. Cruise liners do have.
Yeah.
Including a small emergency hospital and all
Yeah.
this, facilities. How do you handle any medical emergency on board?
so now basically on board the master is the in charge of medical,
Yes.
not treatment in a sense, medical
At
advice.
least the first aid part of it.
Yes. And
Basic medical.
Yeah, we
emergency.
all go through first aid course.
Yeah.
We all
All
do
the officers.
all the officers and the crew also. They go to elementary, we do advance. And then we have a well-stocked, hospital on board. We have a well-stocked medicines on board.
Emergency.
Requirement by the WHO. So the WHO decides this many medicines has to be on
What
board.
needs to be
On
kept
board. Yeah. And then we have a second officer who will handle the inventories, and
You have radio medical advice.
we have radio medical advice, and now we are having company doctors. So say for example, small cough, cold or whatever, we give the medicines, but if something we think which is beyond our knowledge, we seek advice from the company doctor. He gives us, or he might make a telephonic call also, and we go. And if at all we think his situation is not improving, in consultation with the company doctor, we try to send him ashore for treatment.
Okay. Captain, one question I want to ask you. Now, as I said in the beginning also, Goa has a rich tradition of, in the maritime sector, seafarers. How does the International Marine Fraternity look at Goan marine officers?
I think like Bhasker said, we
Goans
Bhasker
are
will
the
take
second to none. I would say we
First,
Goans.
you said the biggest advantage is Goans are better in English,
English is a natural advantage that we
advantage
get
that
because
you
of
have.
our
Besides your
yeah.
professional
Okay, professionally.
qualifications.
So Goa has the best officers in the world. I would say
how is the International Maritime
Now,
Fraternity?
fraternity,
looking them at-
international fraternity already knows the value of Goan maritime officers.
Very good.
Right, and they are given a high regards. Wherever you say I am from Goa, you get a very warm welcome.
I
Because
see.
being a paradise,
This is something very
something
good.
Goa brings naturally happiness to other people. See, Goans are always
Yes.
happiness giving people, right? So happiness part is first part, right?
Like we always
Yeah.
do in all other sectors.
Brings a smile on
Yes,
their face.
it brings,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now Goans in this field, whether he is a chief cook or maybe second cook to master or chief engineer, anything, Goa's name is always there, and we are carrying it very well. I would say I am proud to be a Goan who says Goa officers are the best in the world. I
You
can
agree to
definitely
that?
say
I
that.
totally agree. I totally.
Nobody
You-
can deny
you-
this.
even
Goans are in a very high position in this world over, in this sector. We have managing directors, we have ship owners, we have ship designers, we have, in every sector you go to see, we
There are skilled
are there.
professionals
We may be
who are
small
Goans.
community,
Yes.
but we are there, and we are there at a right position, top position.
And you make an impact at the international level
Very
among
much,
the other
very much,
nationalities.
very much,
Yes.
very much.
That is also very,
much,
important.
very
Very,
much,
important.
very much.
So I think every Goan should be proud of
Yes,
what
very
you
much.
have been what you have
Yes.
expressed over
And it
here.
is a collective experience, and it is a heritage that
We are
have.
running out of time, Captain and Chief
Bas-
Engineer,
yeah.
but I have got two very important questions. You may give me some brief answers. Now, when you are sailing, how do you manage? This question is for both captain and the chief engineer. How do you manage your family affairs? You know, how do you keep that coordination during your period of absence, especially when you are sailing? How difficult is this? You know, managing the family back home, then managing your affairs on the vessel.
I would say all that credit goes
Who
to
is
our
the captain
wives.
at home?
Yeah, of course the wife. You know, I think I think all the credit should go to our wives, because it's not easy now raising the kids. You know, and especially with and even of course our parents. There's no denying. You know, the parents are there, but two kids, taking them to school, now the kids' demands are much more than what demands we had before. You know, taking them for extracurricular activities. So it's a very demanding for the parents now. With the
It's a 24/7 job
24
for
by
them.
job, yeah. And
Yeah, for a seaman or a maritime professional, his heart is in Goa with his family, and his bodily is and mindly is
On
on
board the
board
ship.
ship. Yeah? So he's always thinking about Goa and his family. And the family support is very important, because in his absence, although financially rewarding, but money, the other part of it, the day-to-day running, is something that family has to look after, and that is where they come into picture. And second thing is that what you say is that now, before we used to write letters and send home letters, and you will get, now times have changed. Now we have internet. Now we have most of the vessels are
Video
having
calling.
video calling facility. Not much, I would say.
Depending on
Yeah,
the
depending on the
connectivity,
companies and
yes.
policies and this one. But most of the now technological changes have come. Now we are getting better connectivity, and most of the time now that is another big problem. For every small thing you get a call from home. What should I do? What should I not do? That is also another concern now. Over communication. I would say we have reached the stage of over communication now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Captain, one last question for you and your colleague. What is the message that you would like to give our youngsters, you know, who dream about a career on the merchant navy ships?
yeah.
I want a small advice from you as well
Yeah.
as from the engineering side of it.
I will say, you know, the Goan youths, you know, to stay focused. There are challenges to get into the merchant navy, but it's not impossible. And like Bhasker said, we have a natural, you know, tendency to take to the sea. You know, we have a lot of family support, and we are in a better position to make a career out at sea, because the food, the culture, the language, these are all with us.
We can
You know,
assimilate
We
better.
can assimilate better to the onboard surroundings. And with the information available on the internet or anything, you know, it's I think easier for them to make the choices. And also, I will tell them, you don't have to be restrict yourself to at sea at all time, like how we are.
Yes.
Okay. You reach your masters, or even if you reach your chief officers, you can always go to management courses. There are different. You can go to different, you know,
Branches of
Branches.
shipper.
Yeah, you can do maritime law. You can do logistics.
Right.
You can do quality and safety trainings, and you can leave at a very fairly age with sort of good amount of you know, savings in the bank.
Correct.
To make a career change.
Yeah, as far
Would
as
you-
maritime sector is concerned, we Goans have a lot of advantage, as well as I said before that we have natural ability for this kind of a life. But maritime sector is very vast, and Goans basically have to develop a competitive structure wherein they pass through the various competitive exams. Especially, you have to do well in PCM,
Right.
in your 10th standard and as well as 12th standard. English, definitely you have to score first class, 60% and above. Then you have to go into this line if you want to go. Either you have to be a graduate engineer or a diploma engineer, then go through the training, then you have to pass through various examinations of the various companies, right? So that you start a career at sea. Similarly to catering side also, you do a lot of catering courses and then go on a cruise liner or something like that. Rise through your ranks. There are, once you get into the line, then various channels open up for you. The opportunities are vast, because you don't have to be restricted to a master or a chief engineer or something. That is one topmost rank that you can get on board ship. Besides that, then you have a shore opportunities where you have various requirements of various departments, because ship is one unit. Together in a company you have an office unit also.
Yeah.
You can easily migrate to shore then you have a lot of choices here.
So options are available.
Plenty
Yes,
options
plenty.
are available.
We are running extremely out of time, and but before that, I would like to say a very big thank you to you, Captain.
Thank you to you also for
for
having us.
for sparing your time and making it all the way from Chinchini to Panjim.
Thank you.
And at the same time, a very big thank you to you to.
Thank you,
Chief
sir. We
Engineer,
from Goa
Bhasker.
Maritime Officers
It was
Association.
pleasure having
Yeah.
you on board today for the
Yes.
first episode of this new series called Goyche Tarvotti. So, dear viewers, this was Goyche Tarvotti, and you have just heard what Captain Ryan and Chief Engineer Bhasker had to say. There are lots of opportunities waiting for our youth to make a very successful career as a marine officer in the various branches of marine professional exploits. So, but keep your focus on the studies, especially for the youth, and one day you can land where Captain Ryan is and Chief Engineer Bhasker is. Keep watching your favorite channel, the CCR TV channel, for more of such episodes on Goyche Tarvotti. Thank you.